Fire over the Concordia Bridge. The Iztapalapa gas explosion of September 2025. On the morning of September the 10th, 2025, Mexico awoke to one of its deadliest and most visually shocking urban disasters in recent history. A liquefied petroleum gas tanker overturned and exploded near the Puente de la Concordia, which is the Concordia Bridge, which is a busy transit point straddling the line between Iztapalapa, the capital's most populous borough, and Chalco in the state of Mexico. The blast sent flames 35 meters in the air, shook entire neighborhoods, and left a trail of destruction that residents will not forget for generations. At approximately 2:31 p.m., commuters filled the arterial road leading to and from the bridge. Vendors were at their stalls, public buses were carrying passengers, and private vehicles lined the roadway. Suddenly, a tanker loaded with nearly 50,000 liters of LP gas overturned. Investigators believe excessive speeding played a major role, although mechanical failure was not ruled out at the point this video is being made. The tanker's cargo spilled rapidly, creating a visible cloud of highly flammable vapor. Moments later, a spark possible from scraping metal or an ignition source triggered a massive fireball. Witnesses described hearing what felt like a sonic boom, followed by a wall of fire engulfing vehicles and pedestrians alike. One survivor told media that the flames were so high that they covered the entire bridge and that it was like the entire sky had turned orange. The official toll remains fluid. By September the 14th, authorities confirmed at least 8 deaths. More than 80 people were injured, many with catastrophic burns. Hospitals across Iztapalapa and the state of Mexico reported being overwhelmed with victims, including 22 that were in critical condition. Among the deceased were commuters trapped inside vehicles within the inferno. Street vendors who often operate within the margins of the Concordia Bridge were also caught up amongst casualties. One of the most widely reported cases was a woman who sustained burns over 80% of her body while shielding her infant granddaughter. The baby miraculously survived. The explosion destroyed and damaged dozens of vehicles. Flames consumed buses, taxis, and other people's vehicles. Infrastructure near the bridge was scorched. Businesses and homes within a wide radius sustained heat and blast damage. Residents several kilometers away reported that their windows rattled. Firefighters, paramedics, and civil protection forces raced to the scene. Thick black smoke billowed across Iztapalapa, which was visible for miles. The immediate priority was containing the flames before the tanker's remaining fuel caused a second explosion. Crews worked through the morning with specialized foam to suffocate the fire. Dozens of ambulances transported the wounded to burn units and general hospitals, while police closed major access points to prevent further casualties. Helicopters from Mexico's emergency services evacuated the most critically injured. Authorities established emergency shelters for those displaced and began assessing structural damage. President Claudia Sheinbaum expressed condolences to victims' families, and the government pledged full support for medical care and a deep investigation into what caused the explosion. The government and transportation safety regulators quickly launched a probe. Initial findings suggested excessive speeding could be a likely cause. Witnesses reported the truck swerved violently before it overturned. Authorities also questioned whether the tanker was properly maintained and also whether the driver himself was adequately trained for moving such hazardous cargo. Attention soon shifted to the company allegedly operating the tanker, which was Gasilza. a major distributor of LP gas. Journalists uncovered records suggesting that the vehicle's insurance coverage had expired or it was incomplete. Company representatives have disputed ownership of this particular truck, further clouding accountability. The case reignited a long-standing debate in Mexico. Are hazardous cargo operators adequately regulated? The sheer volume of LP gas transported daily across Mexican roads poses an enormous risk. Critics argue lax oversight, outdated fleets, and weak enforcement, which created the conditions for tragedies like the Iztapalapa blast. The Iztapalapa explosion occurs and echoes a painful pattern. Mexico has experienced multiple LP gas incidents in recent decades. For instance, in 1984, there was the San Juan Ixhuatepec incident, which was a catastrophic series of LPG explosions at a Pemex facility which killed over 500 people. And then there's the 2012 Ecatepec incident, another tanker accident which claimed 27 lives and injured dozens of others. Each time this happened, authorities vowed reforms, yet enforcement often weakened over time. For the residents of Mexico, the Concordia Bridge explosion feels like history repeating itself all over again. Now, beyond the statistics, the disaster's human toll is staggering. Burn victims face months or even years of recovery, with many unlikely to fully heal. Families waited anxiously outside hospitals, clinging to updates about their loved ones. Now, the story of the grandmother who shielded her granddaughter spread rapidly across Mexican media. Neighbors described her as a devoted caretaker and praised her bravery. Doctors say her injuries are life-threatening, yet she insisted that saving the child was worth everything. Nearby shopkeepers who lost their businesses now face economic ruin. For commuters who survived, trauma lingers. Some report nightmares of the flames, an enduring reminder of how ordinary mornings can turn into catastrophe. Anger erupted almost as quickly as the flames. Residents of Iztapalapa and Chalco demanded answers. They asked questions such as, why are such massive loads of volatile gas allowed to pass through densely populated areas? And was the tanker properly inspected? And why did it overturn so easily? Local politicians called for tighter controls, including rerouting hazardous cargo outside major urban centers, stricter licenses requirements, and real-time monitoring of tanker trucks. Safety advocates noted that Mexico's reliance on LP gas for domestic cooking and heating fuels a dangerous system where thousands of tankers traverse highways daily. Now, the Concordia Bridge disaster highlights a broader challenge: balancing Mexico's energy needs with public safety. LP gas remains the dominant household fuel across the country, especially in working class areas. Distribution requires constant road transport, but infrastructure is aging and oversight is inconsistent. Now, for now, Mexico mourns. Funerals have taken place for the deceased, while hospitals struggle to stabilize the burn victims. Psychologists have offered trauma counseling in affected neighborhoods. City engineers continue inspecting the damaged infrastructure. The blast left a blackened scar on the Concordia Bridge, both physically and symbolically. For residents, it is a reminder of vulnerability in everyday life, and for policymakers, it is a test of will whether safety will finally be prioritized over convenience and cost. The Iztapalapa gas explosion is more than just a tragic accident. It is a mirror reflecting Mexico's systematic vulnerabilities. A single overturned truck transformed a bustling commuter hub into a scene of nightmare devastation, killing ordinary people who began their day like any other. The victims deserve the justice, the survivors deserve care and dignity, and the nation deserves a serious reckoning with how hazardous materials are transported. Now, until then, the flames of September 10, 2025 will cast a long shadow over Iztapalapa. Thanks for listening and watching. And leave your comments below if you have any.
Ok, mira, estamos en Iztapalapa.